Meet Rohan. Rohan is a U.S. veteran who is experiencing homelessness and staying at a local emergency shelter. Working with his case manager, he was able to qualify for a housing voucher and scrape together the cost for a rental application. However, he also needed to pay a deposit. Rohan's case manager submitted a flex fund request for the cost of his deposit, and he was able to have the deposit covered so that his new apartment could be inspected by the housing authority. Now he has a stable and safe place to call home. So, what is the Flex Fund? The Flex Fund is essentially a tool for case managers to help their clients on their pathway to stable housing. When a client is facing a minor but impactful expenditure, impeding them from ending or making progress to end their homelessness, the Flex Fund relieves that barrier, covering the client's expense and putting them on their pathway to housing. While the Flex Fund is not the primary monetary solution to ending homelessness in our community, it is a funding source for one-time expenses that stand between clients and stable housing. Submitting a request for one of these expenses is simple. First, go to www.mdhadallas.org/flex-fund. Before you start your form, remember that this FAQ section on the website is available to answer all of your questions, including what types of documentation are required for your request, what types of payment options are available, and more. Next, click on the button to submit a Flex Fund request. This will open the form in the web browser. Complete all of the required questions for the form. Then upload all required documentation. Notice that the form will only list documents that are required for your specific type of request. Once you've completed the form, you will have the option to review all of your answers before submitting. When you see this page, the form has not yet been submitted to our team. You must click the Submit button. Once you've submitted your form, you'll see this thank you message confirming that the form has been submitted. There are a few criteria for Flex Fund requests. First, the request should end or make progress in ending a client's homelessness. Second, the client must be enrolled in HMIS and be receiving active case management. Note that if you are a victim service provider and your client is a survivor of domestic violence, they are not required to be in HMIS, but your agency must be a member of the Continuum of Care. And that requirement is true for every Flex Fund request. The Flex Fund is only available to agencies who are part of our Continuum of Care, the Homeless Collaborative of Dallas and Collin counties. Because of reporting and approval processes in place, we do have a few reminders about submitting the form itself. First, we ask that you submit one request per invoice. And this applies to all requests, but it's especially true for clients under the Real-Time Rapid Rehousing Initiative. Secondly, the Flex Fund request form does require that you have all documents ready to upload before submitting your request. We encourage you to use the FAQ section near the bottom of our webpage to determine which documents are needed for which type of request. If you are a victim service provider and you're submitting this request for a client who is a survivor of domestic violence, you'll see fewer demographic questions about your client in an effort to further protect their privacy and security. Finally, as you submit your Flex Fund requests, keep these helpful tips in mind. The form is meant to be simple and easy to use, so trust it. All of the required information and documentation is built into the form. And if you follow the form step by step, you'll have a perfect Flex Fund request every time. Next, remember that you'll need all of your documentation ready to submit your request. Again, the request form requires all of the documentation at the time of submission. Now, you can save and return to the form later, but partial forms and requests cannot be submitted for processing. If you have any questions about what is required, please use the FAQ section of our Flex Fund webpage for more information about the documentation. Lastly, please remember that processing and payments take time. Flex Fund requests are not processed immediately. They do take a short turnaround time to be processed and approved, typically 2 or 3 business days. Immediate needs can be covered by your agency and reimbursed through the Flex Fund upon approval. So again, read through that FAQ to learn more about agency reimbursement if your client's needs are immediate. Again, if you have any questions at all, that FAQ resource on our website is going to be extremely helpful for you in answering all of those frequent questions about the Flex Fund. Thank you for watching and for using the Flex Fund as one of the tools in your Case Manager tool belt to help your clients make strides to end their homelessness.